There was an urgent message from the sales department to the help desk. Some features of the sales support system used by sales employees have been unavailable since this morning, causing significant disruption to their work. Emily, we're getting a lot of inquiries at the help desk about some features of the sales support system not working. Do you have any idea what's going on? With teary eyes and a nearly breaking voice, she replied, I have no idea what to do. What should I, with a desperate expression. Seeing her like that stirred a strong desire in me not just to help her but to protect her. My name is John, 30 years old. I work in the IT department of a manufacturing company, handling the help desk and dealing with various troubles and system issues. Since we also handle inquiries via email, I was going through the emails that had arrived since last night and prioritizing today's tasks. Then, I heard a familiar cheerful voice. Good morning. It was Emily, 25 years old. We work in the same IT department but on different tasks, so we haven't talked much. However, I vividly remember her introduction when she joined our department. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Emily, and I'll be working here from today. I'm really bad at giving speeches. Oh, by the way, I'm into making small crafts with cement recently. Feel free to ask me about it. She was quite nervous, blushing while speaking with a bright smile. Emily, small cement crafts? Interesting. Her name and hobby made a strong impression. Probably most employees remembered her instantly due to her strong character during the introduction. Before I knew it, 3 years had passed since she joined. She looks pretty ordinary, but her energy and cheerfulness have continued to create a positive atmosphere in the department. Typically, the help desk inquiries are about resetting passwords, setting up shared folders, and fixing computer issues. But there are also technical problems with internal systems that are beyond our control. In such cases, we explain the situation to the system's operational team and pass on the issue. It might sound simple, but we need to determine how the issue occurred, whether it will recur, and if it's isolated to just one computer before passing it on. This preliminary diagnosis takes quite a bit of effort. Steve, the manager, often criticizes us for being slow, but our job isn't just about fixing problems quickly. From a professional standpoint, it's crucial to ensure issues are resolved properly and won't happen again. I remind myself that thorough and preventive action is the most important aspect of our work, even as I endure Steve's complaints and sarcasm. About 30 minutes into the workday, an urgent call came from the sales department to the help desk. Usually, there's some quiet time, but not today. As soon as one call ended, another one started. Sales employees reported that some features of the sales support system had been down since this morning, significantly impacting their work. The same issue was reported simultaneously from almost all branches. They explained the situation with urgency in their voices. The sales support system is crucial for recording customer interactions, tracking progress toward sales targets, simulating necessary actions to achieve goals, and generating reports on sales activities. If this system is down, sales activities come to a halt. The phone was filled with escalating problem reports and a tense atmosphere. The head of the sales department even complained directly to our IT department head, Steve. He immediately came to my desk, emphasizing the seriousness of the situation and instructing swift action. A heavy atmosphere settled over the help desk team. Our jobs are already under a lot of pressure, but an issue that has a direct impact on the company's performance is even more stressful. Steve's face showed more tension than usual, and just seeing that made my chest feel heavy too. There was no time to diagnose the issue at the help desk. I instructed the team to email all relevant parties about the sales support system's outage. Simultaneously, I decided to explain the situation to the system's operational team. The team is within the same IT department. Although their desks are relatively close, sharing screens online often makes explanation smoother, so we've been using online calls lately. I confirmed that the system's operational manager was available for a call before initiating it. Emily, we're getting a lot of inquiries at the help desk about some features of the sales support system not working. Do you have any idea what's going on? Yes, the operational manager for the sales support system is the always cheerful Emily. She became the operational manager due to cost-cutting pressures from the finance department, which led to insourcing previously outsourced system maintenance. This insourcing saves costs but puts a significant burden on the employees. What? Really? I don't recall doing anything in particular. Which feature is it? She responded in a surprised tone. I shared my screen online and explained the feature in question to her. You're right, it's not working. But I haven't made any changes to this feature. Anyway, the help desk phones are ringing off the hook right now, so could you check the situation over there? I'll contact you as soon as we have more information. Understood. I'll check the situation immediately. She said this and hung up the call. Thanks to the email sent to relevant parties about the issue, the inquiries to the help desk began to subside. I headed to her desk to check the situation. She was frantically flipping through the manual, trying to find some clue, but her face was gradually turning pale. The usual liveliness around her was replaced by a tense silence, and her anxiety was palpable. Is there anything I can do to help? When I offered my assistance, she looked up with teary eyes and almost in a breaking voice said, I have no idea what to do. There's nothing in the operating manual or the procedures we got from the external vendor 3 months ago. I don't know what to do. Gone was her usual energetic demeanor, replaced by anxiety and confusion. As the situation showed no signs of improving, Steve approached her desk. She was still unable to identify the cause of the system malfunction, and her anxiety was evident on her face. With every heavy step he took, her shoulders tensed up more and more. Hey! Have you figured out the cause yet? Hurry up! His urgent voice was directed at her. Startled by his voice, she flinched and momentarily stopped what she was doing. Her eyes were filled with anxiety. Seeing this, I felt compelled to act. Steve, we're working hard to identify the cause. Please give us a bit more time, I calmly explained to him. Steve frowned for a moment but then seemed to understand my words. Fine. But this is an emergency, and we don't have much time. Get it done quickly, he said before quickly walking away. Emily looked somewhat relieved and took a deep breath before returning to her keyboard. Watching her struggle with the issue, memories of my past came flooding back. Her anxious expression and the look of helplessness, not knowing where to start. It was just like how I used to be. As a newbie, I had faced a major system failure and spent sleepless nights not knowing how to handle it. Seeing her like this stirred a strong desire in me to not only help but also protect her. In my previous job, I had obtained a certification in sales support systems and was responsible for its development and maintenance. While working in that role, I began to feel the need to work in a way that directly helped people rather than just solving technical issues. When I learned that my current company was hiring help desk staff, I applied. I had explained my qualifications to Steve when I joined, but since the sales support system was being managed by an external vendor at that time, there was no shortage of staff, and I was assigned to the help desk as I had hoped. I am probably the only one in this company's IT department with this certification. If someone else had this qualification, they would likely have been appointed as the operations manager for the sales support system by now. I was confident that my qualifications and experience could now help Emily. Emily, don't worry. Stay calm. Let's tackle this together. I have a certification in this system and was responsible for its development and maintenance in my previous job. I think I can help. Really? If someone that knowledgeable is helping, that's a relief. Please, I would appreciate your help. I then proceeded to ask her a few questions. I see. The operating manual doesn't provide detailed instructions, but I suspect the issue is due to an automatic version update. Automatic version update? Now that you mention it, I was verbally informed about such updates happening every few months. But I wasn't told about the procedures. The sales support system is a cloud service provided over the internet, and the provider regularly updates the system. Typically, our company's system administrators should receive an email notification about the update schedule and changes. But it seems the change of responsible personnel was missed during the handover from the external vendor. I checked online earlier. Yesterday was the day for the automatic version update. It seems the feature that stopped working was modified. There are instructions for dealing with it, let's follow them. But before that, there was something I needed to do before proceeding with the solution. I hurried to a certain person's office. Steve, sorry to bother you while you're busy. Could I have a moment of your time? What? Have you already finished addressing the issue? He, likely pressured by the sales department, was visibly irritated today. Actually, before that, I have a request, Steve. Can I use the admin privileges for the sales support system? I have a certification for this system and have used it before. With admin access, I can resolve this issue more quickly. I'll have Emily watch my actions closely, so please allow me to proceed. Normally, admin privileges are reserved for operations staff, not someone like me from the help desk. However, given the urgency, it was clear that I could address the issue faster than guiding Emily through the unfamiliar process. After considering for a moment, he agreed, "All right, I understand. I grant you permission. But make sure to document every step. We'll need to review everything later." Relieved to have his approval, I followed the instructions found online, made the necessary changes in the test environment, and repeated the tests. As soon as I made the adjustments, Emily verified the system's operation. We double-checked each other's work to ensure nothing was overlooked. It was a moment where I truly felt we were working together as a team. As the tests in the staging environment proceeded without issues, I noticed her expression gradually brightening. "All right, the tests look good. Let's apply the changes to the production environment." "Yes, please do." Following the same steps we used in the test environment, we made the changes in the production environment and then checked its operation. She clasped her hands together as if praying and stared at the screen. "It worked. Thank you, John. I couldn't have done it without you." When the system started functioning normally again, she sighed in relief and expressed her deep gratitude. There were tears of gratitude shining in her eyes. I then instructed the help desk team to notify all relevant parties about the system's recovery. After that, I went to see Steve again. "Steve, sorry for the wait. The system is back up and running, and we've informed all the relevant parties. Great job. So, did you figure out the cause?" He, who had been tense and frustrated all day, now showed a relieved expression and a hint of relaxation in his voice. "Yes, the issue was caused by the regular automatic version update of the sales support system. Normally, an email is sent to the admin before the update. It seems you should have received it, Steve." He looked puzzled, almost as if a question mark had appeared above his head. "Why would the email come to me and not to Emily?" His voice was tinged with confusion. "It seems there was a lapse during the change of responsible personnel. Ideally, you would have noticed the email." I added a bit cheekily. "Ah, right. Did you complete the change of the responsible personnel?" he asked, wiping the sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief. "Yes, I've updated it to Emily, so there shouldn't be any issues from now on." Noticing that it was past noon, I realized how much time had passed. After the work was done, Emily and I stood by the office window, talking for a while as we looked outside. At that moment, she said, "John, thank you so much for today. I don't think I could have resolved it on my own," with her usual bright smile. Her smile left a deep impression on me, and I was momentarily at a loss for words. I realized then that I was beginning to see her as more than just a colleague. From that day on, I felt our relationship began to change gradually. We started talking more, wanting to learn more about each other. Additionally, after resolving the sales support system issue, the atmosphere in the entire department seemed to change. Especially with Steve, there was a noticeable shift. The change began when he stopped me the next morning for a meeting. With a more relaxed expression than usual, he said, "John, you handled the issue well. I've re-evaluated your work." I never expected him, often critical of my slow responses, to praise my work. Feeling bold, I decided to share my thoughts with him. "Thank you. Steve, since we have the chance, I'd like to discuss a few things. The high volume of help desk inquiries is due to the poor quality of our internal systems. The help desk is indeed slow at times. But it's because we handle each issue carefully and thoroughly. The recent incident also resulted from ending the contract with external vendors and moving things in-house. We need to improve employee technical skills and strengthen our system." After thinking for a moment, he responded, "You're right, John. Could you present the issues with our internal systems from the help desk's perspective at the next meeting?" Let's discuss how we can improve overall quality. Although I worried I might have been too blunt, his response was surprisingly positive, and he took my suggestions seriously. I had rarely voiced my opinions directly to him before. I had avoided proposing ideas to him, who was always pushing me to be faster. But he turned out to be someone who would listen and consider my suggestions. Reflecting on my past reticence, I resolved to propose any idea, no matter how small, without fear. As the staff's technical skills improved and the quality of our internal systems advanced, Emily began relying on me to learn various ways to handle the sales support system. Having overcome her first major trouble, her enthusiasm for improving her skills had only grown stronger. Although she had memorized the operations manual, I told her that wasn't enough. The operations manual covers the basics, but most real-life problems aren't in the manual. You need to learn how to find information and solve problems on your own, I advised her. Thanks to our increased conversations, I found it easier to talk to her casually. After hearing my advice, she began proactively researching external materials and asking questions on online forums, showing a strong will to learn. Watching her, I found myself increasingly drawn to her earnest and diligent attitude. She wasn't just waiting for instructions but was actively learning and striving to grow. Her perseverance in finding solutions to problems, never giving up, was inspiring and made teaching her a rewarding experience. 3 months passed, and together, Emily and I prepared for the next major event, the regular version update of the sales support system. Having gained experience from past troubles, we carefully executed each step to ensure a smooth update. We reviewed the changes and conducted pre-tests in the test environment. This time, the changes were minor, and there didn't appear to be any issues. On the day of the update, everything went as planned. The system was successfully updated to the new version, and we confirmed that everything was functioning normally in the production environment. At that moment, we exchanged relieved smiles. To celebrate the day's success, I invited her out for dinner. It seemed like a perfect opportunity to enjoy our mutual efforts and achievements. As night had fully fallen and the city lights faintly illuminated the streets, we headed to a nearby pub. The warm lights of the interior and the lively laughter of other patrons welcomed us. Although she usually claimed to have a low tolerance for alcohol, tonight was special, and she kept emptying her glass. As the evening progressed, her demeanor changed. Her cheeks flushed, and her speech became slightly slurred. Worried, I also felt relaxed by her bright and cheerful presence. In the midst of it all, she pulled out a small package and handed it to me. "Please open this." Her voice was filled with excitement. I took the package and carefully unwrapped it. Inside was a round object that looked like a simple plate. A plate? No, it's a trinket dish. It's my first time making a gift for someone. I made it out of cement for you, John. She said this shyly and began explaining the making process. I made several prototypes to get this shape right, and finally decided this one was the best. Looking closely, I noticed it had my name, John, inscribed in letters. Knowing that I was privy to her hobby made my heart race a little. I deeply appreciated the enthusiasm and effort she had put into this gift. However, as the night went on, she became too drunk to stand, so I helped her out of the restaurant. As I put her in a taxi and we headed towards her home, she gently rested her forehead against the window. She pressed her forehead against the cold window, seemingly soothed by the coolness. As the city lights streamed past, she smiled softly and said, "Oh, I'm so drunk. I'm sorry for getting so wasted. I enjoyed talking with you so much that I drank too much. I'm really sorry for being a bother." There was a hint of sweet embarrassment in her voice. Her endearing demeanor made me feel a surge of affection, and I found myself saying, "You're not a bother at all. You're adorable." In her slightly tipsy state, she responded, "You can't say things like that when I'm drunk. Say it again when I'm sober." With a bit of playful teasing. Those words left a deep impression on me, and I just looked at her silently. That night ended with us parting ways like that, and I headed home alone. But even after arriving home and throughout the next day's work, her words, "Say it again when I'm sober," lingered in my mind, making it hard to concentrate. I found myself re-evaluating what her words meant and reflecting on my feelings for her. Just then, I received a message on my phone. It was from Emily. Her message read, "I'm sorry for causing trouble last night. I'd like to apologize properly after work. When the end of the workday arrived, we met in the conference room we had arranged earlier. The room was quiet, and the soft light of dusk filtered through the windows. As the door closed, leaving us alone, the room was filled with tension and anticipation. She was the first to speak. "Well, I'm sorry for getting so drunk last night." I didn't say anything weird, did I? She seemed a bit nervous, but I looked into her eyes and decided to confess my feelings as she had asked the night before. "Emily, you were very cute last night. I'll say it again, I like you. Not because I was drunk, but because I genuinely want to be with you." I conveyed my heartfelt feelings. Hearing this, she was momentarily speechless, but then a gentle smile spread across her face. "John, I feel the same. I was so happy when you said that last night. I like you too." It seemed she remembered everything from last night. The tension in the room dissolved, and we confirmed our feelings for each other. From that point on, we were not just colleagues but a couple with a deep bond, enjoying each day even more. The time spent with her added new colors to my life. Years passed since we first met. The technical skills of the IT department improved, and the quality of our internal systems enhanced. Each systems operation team now had at least 2 members, reducing help desk inquiries. It was a cool autumn afternoon in the park where we had our first date. The trees were adorned with colorful leaves, and a gentle breeze rustled them. We walked slowly along familiar paths, holding hands. Sitting on a bench, I took a deep breath and pulled a small box from my pocket. Her eyes widened as I got down on one knee. "Emily, the days I've spent with you have been the happiest of my life. Will you stay with me forever?" I asked quietly. When I opened the small box, a shining ring appeared. Tears filled her eyes, and she nodded without a word. At the entrance of our home, there is a small plaque inspired by the rings we exchanged at our wedding. It is inscribed with our wedding date and our names, a memento we made together from cement. Next year, when our baby is born, we plan to make another new plaque.